season 4, or just, when we decided we wanted to start coming back. Of course, we wait till things kind of die down and there's not much going on now for the summer, dog days of summer, I guess. But now's the time we come back.
We're on the fast lane to SummerSlam here at the barely sold Nissan Stadium in Nashville. I can tell you why it's barely sold.
Oh,
$289 to sit in the 300 level.
Man, so, and then also, I don't know, maybe Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns 85. So, but for once, I guess Roman is defending instead of Brock. That's the new thing, and it's a last man standing match, which, to be honest, last man standing matches, they're really hard to do well. I think there's only a few that are done where, just because it's kind of anticlimactic to someone not standing for the 10 count. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a better format than the I Quit match that takes you completely out of it constantly. Ask him if he quits. Ask him if he quits.
And they just,
all right.
I do very much I don't like all the headshots that Mick Foley took, but I do very much like how they played a recording of him saying, I quit from a promo for Rock to win that match. I thought that was still a fun way to do it, but I'll never watch that match again because it's a little too hard to watch.
I have trouble watching a lot of Mick Foley stuff.
Yeah. Well, so SummerSlam, we might have gotten Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, but we didn't, because Cody had to just lift too much weight, I guess, and then rip his what did he rip?
He tore the entire right pectoral off the rib cage. Which is
not fun.
That's gnarly. I mean, I've never heard of anybody having a muscle surgically reattached to bone. So I mean, is it just super glue? I don't know how this works. I don't know how you surgically fake cartilage. But they had to put his pectoral muscle back on the bone. So that's
the crazy
gross.
thing is, you can not only can you go out there and wrestle, but it's in a spot where the doctors can clear you to go out and wrestle. It's not just being the 1970s where I gotta make the towns or anything like that. It's no, a doctor actually had to say, yes, Cody, you can go out there and do this match and leave on your own terms.
Either that or he signed a lot of liability forms. But I mean, I guess it's one of those where it's more pain than anything else.
Right.
So I guess you just a really hefty cortisone shot right in the pec and just kind of tough it out. I still don't know how he got the jacket off, to be completely honest, because when he was pulling it over that arm, the face he made said everything it needed to say. So yeah, that was gnarly. The fact that they still had him go over Seth Rollins was kind of amazing. So who knows what they're going to do with Seth at this point, but it's certainly not thrust him back to the top.
Well, I'm not going to jump ahead here, but I will a little bit. That I guess super RKO that Riddle gave Seth off the ladder. He
landed funky.
Yeah, he did land funky.
But that looked bad. I mean, he nose first right into Riddle's rib cage. There's no way to. When he came off sideways, you can't take the bump. So that was bad. There were a couple of really nasty spots in the two Hell in a Cell matches. Shotzi landing, skull first on the side of a ladder kind of stands out. I don't understand the call from the internet wrestling community for Shotzi to be fired. She didn't land on anybody else. The only person she hurt when she missed was herself.
Yeah.
So she's going to have a headache for a couple of weeks, and then she'll be as right as rain. And she was still okay enough to finish the match.
It's not Rhea Ripley kneeing herself in the head and giving herself a concussion. So
that was bad,
which is also crazy. Yeah, like that was crazy to watch, and it's just like I don't even understand how that happens, but I see how it happened. It's still like, I mean, to me, I don't understand how that happens because my knee does not make it up to my forehead in any kind of situation.
No,
not without
at peak yoga
ripping something.
Performance. I couldn't have gotten my knee up to my head. Not with enough force to knock myself out. I might have made contact if I really stretched, but not with any force. I mean, but it's been wild. Just I don't want to call them botches because they're for the most part they're not. Like Shotzi comes off those ropes spring funny sometimes, and you land weird. I'm amazed Jake Hager wasn't hurt in Blood and Guts when he took that suplex from Santana and Santana's knee buckled like it did, because he did not get fully extended and Hager came down right on his damn neck. So the fact that Hager walked out of there is a testament to something about his conditioning, because that was brutal. But yeah, they're just hurt left and damn right here lately.
And there was a little bit of I don't know. There's been something in the air lately. I think the shine has kind of like worn off of AEW. There's just like I think overall pessimism, just kind of like in the internet wrestling community to such a point that we decided not to come back around Forbidden Door. We needed a little bit more of a break, but part of that was just the injuries, man. Like injuries all across the board. It seems like they particularly hit AEW hard. On one hand, there's been jokes that AEW has way too many people on the roster, but in this case, it's kind of worked out for them.
I mean, it's the Alabama mentality. Like you recruit 17 5-star players for the same position because when the first two guys go down, you've got 15 behind them. Next guy up is just as good as the last guy. I mean, maybe not in the case of like a Kenny Omega, but I mean, that's why you stack rosters. That's why when WWE sees guys like Randy Orton go down, they have to mash the panic button so hard and bring Brock Lesnar back in, because like, what the hell else do you do? If Cody's hurt, Randy Orton is hurt, like, are you just going to randomly decide on somebody to push? I mean, I would have preferred AJ Styles get the SummerSlam match, mostly because Roman got over on a series of AJ Styles matches, so at least call back to those. But yeah, it's a testament to the differences in how rosters work. When you release, I don't know, 65% of your functioning roster, and then 10% of what you got left, your top guys just go down, you got nothing. When Charlotte takes a vacation for a honeymoon, like they don't know what the hell to do in that women's division. And that's not a knock on Liv Morgan. I was so happy to see her win Money in the Bank and then subsequently to cash in on Ronda, which surprised the shit out of me. I thought, if anything, she was going to try and cash in on Bianca and fail, but I was thrilled that Ronda let that happen. So that was a good one. But yeah, it's amazing. Just the differences in how everything functions, just because AEW has reserves that they can pull from, and Vince and the other Khan let everybody go.
It is kind of crazy that we have two people with the surname of Khan, like running wrestling, basically. Especially right now with Vince McMahon got into real hot water, or at least has come back since all this stuff, since the last time we've been around. And that's strange because he just keeps on coming out and opening all the shows and trying to get cheap pops, and they give it to him. Yeah. So,
and then he, the same day that those reports resurface about him raping a referee in the 90s, Like, he comes out and just completely ruins that whole John Cena moment. Like, you didn't have to be out there, man.
Yeah.
And the really funny thing, and I'll have to go back and listen to it. I think on the last episode we did, we got into Me Too stuff again.
Oh, right.
And mentioned how surprised we were that it hadn't hit Vince. And and then just out of nowhere. I don't want to say that we manifest stuff on this show, but it kind of happens more often than you would think. So yeah, no, but hopefully they get that sorted. I'm both surprised and thrilled that Stephanie got the nod to be interim. Hopefully she has enough authority that some things can actually the ship can actually right a little bit. I kind of feel a change in the waters after Money in the Bank. So I'm hopeful.
Triple H did show up at NXT and said, "I'm back," but we don't know if that actually means anything or if it's just him saying that. But we haven't seen it in the product for sure so far. That's for sure. But
yeah, I was kind of telling myself that if Cameron Grimes got the belt last night at Great American Bash, that he actually was back. But with Braun Breaker retaining and the rest of the show going pretty much exactly as you would have expected, I don't necessarily know what capacity he's back in, or if he's just trying to get the lay of the land so he can fix things, and there's no sense just upending what they've got going until he knows what he's doing. So who knows? Right.
I mean, he's still got to play some political games. There's no way he can just be scrap it and we're going back to black and gold.
Yeah, I mean,
1.0.
Whatever he does, just get Bruce Pritchard the hell out of there, because everything that they've done since they announced that he had authority in NXT, I quit watching. If that tells you anything, and NXT was my favorite show for a long time. So here's hoping the ship rights. We get back to black and gold instead of the splatter paint. There's some talent down there. I mean, I would really like to see Toxic Attraction show up on SmackDown this week. I kind of think that's why they dropped those tag belts, because I think they're aching for, and it's really weird to say, but I think they're aching for somebody that can cut a promo and work matches like Mandy Rose, and I think she'd be a great kind of, I don't want to call her a placeholder for Charlotte, but she could definitely slot right in. And I think the women on SmackDown need some fresh blood.
Yeah. Yeah, they can cut a promo. That'll be a big loss to NXT because a lot of those people down there, again, super talented. A lot of people got a lot of talent in the ring, but, whoa, man, they could use an acting class or something. At least somebody on, somewhere close to Dusty's level, teaching these people how to cut a promo.
It's all these just super shitty written vignettes that they're doing too. I bet they're not bad on promos. Just if they were handed a microphone and told to go, here's your bullet points. But they even managed to make Santos Escobar shitty at promos, and he was pretty good, even though I didn't understand half of what he said sometimes. I mean, he went out there and would just cut a hell of a promo, and now he's doing these backroom mafia MS-13, whatever the hell he's got going on. I don't get it. Tony D'Angelo was even getting to the point where I really enjoyed him, and then they've shit all over it with just stereotypical garbage. It's got Bruce Pritchard all over it. You can feel it. It's Bruce Pritchard.
It's families and waste management.
Jesus.
So yeah. Let's jump back a little bit to Double or Nothing. So I actually was there. I was there with a non-wrestling fan, and so that was interesting. I mean, he had a good time. We had a good time. I did not enjoy Hangman losing to CM Punk. That's my personal preference there that I did not enjoy. But one of my favorite matches, I was kind of looking back over the card, House of Black versus Death Triangle. I thought that was kind of a fantastic match. Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. I also remember that Adam Cole and Britt Baker won a his and hers Owen Hart Foundation belts, which thankfully they stopped coming out with those things pretty quickly. Like that was there's already too many belts in AEW, and then like they also brought in that All Atlantic Championship, and it's just like, okay, you gotta put it on your mantle or above your bed. Now that
you brought the championship, the All Atlantic Championship up, I've got to ask, if the whole point is that all of the competitors are foreign, like it's not Americans, why is the American flag front and center on that title belt?
I don't know. So I feel like sometimes AEW does this where they have like some kind of link to history and they just don't even like mention it. It feels like it's some kind of nod to some old belt in like Jim Crockett Promotions or some bullshit from back in the day. But like they've not mentioned a single thing about it. Like I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a new thing. If it's a new thing, why is it the All Atlantic thing? And then you have
Japanese
people from Japan in it. Yeah, I don't get it. Like,
there had to be an easier way to get Intercontinental without saying Intercontinental. I mean, you could have called it the non-domestic championship, and I'd have been fine with it.
Well, we'll jump. From Death Triangle, let's talk about Forbidden Door a little bit. This is just a kind of scattershot ADHD podcast right now. We're just going to jump all over the place. Pac winning that All Atlantic Championship, I really enjoyed that match, and I thought it's really cool to see someone that was kind of there day one kind of win that championship. And on top of that, we did actually have an American in that match because Ishii got injured and with Clark Connors. And I've seen him a couple times here in LA and stuff, but I thought he really like kind of stepped up and showed what he can do when he was like the kind of the afterthought after Ishii was like taken out. Like no one was really expecting much from him.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect because I've never seen him, or I don't think I've ever seen any of his matches on anything. I was very impressed for a guy that found out 2 days beforehand that he was going to be in that match. Like he was right on time in every spot that he had to do and everything. So that was impressive. I was shocked that given all the promo time and the vignettes and everything that Miro didn't win that belt. But like you said, I mean, Pac's been there since day one. He's always been kind of like on the verge and just never quite been given a belt yet. So yeah, he's put the time.
Yeah,
that was a good call.
Overall, I enjoyed Double or Nothing, but it was what it was. But didn't like. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of Punk winning, but it is what it is. But then we got to Wednesday, which I was also at in LA because I'm a crazy person. I went to the Forum, and CM Punk injured himself, and so we got to this whole interim mess. And but before we get there, MJF having some issues, supposedly, whether it's kayfabe or not, didn't show up to some meet and greets in Vegas, and then cuts the kind of like pipe bomb promo, which so much shit has happened in wrestling over the last since June 1st when that happened, that like I had to when I was writing notes for this show, it's just oh shit, that happened. We still don't have any kind of resolution on it, or just really any information at all. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know. It felt like it was a work, and then it started coming out that he did the same shit when he was in MLW. So I don't know, unless maybe they're just using that to further the idea that it's real. and he's just going to be the Joker in the next ladder match or something. I have no idea, but yeah, we'll see. That promo was something particularly special, but also weird that they let him finish, like they just let him go, and then CM Punk came out during the commercial break and like that. Just weird.
CM Punk hobbling out there because at that point he'd already like fucked up his leg or whatever he did, and also the Bucks came out of the tunnel as well. So I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I gotta say it is. I feel like it has to be a work, and but also if it's a work. Just everything we've heard kind of backstage, I think he's not only working us, but he's working a lot of his coworkers, which probably also doesn't like sit well with people in the end. But then, a week or so after this, I've only seen clips of it, but he was on Apple TV's Carpool Karaoke I think he's in a car with Powerhouse Hobbs and maybe Ruby Soho. So yeah. Also seems like a strange combination, but sure, whatever. So we'll see on that. But then back to so that gives us, because of Punk's injury, that gave us Moxley kind of winning the number one contendership on the AEW side, and then we had Hiroshi Tanahashi for the New Japan side going to Forbidden Door for the interim AEW World Championship. That's just what we're doing here in AEW. We're just everything. There's no vacant winning the championship. It's always going to be an interim, and then the person's always going to have a unification match. I just hope they don't just carry around belts all the time, like it seems, or at least why Scorpio was doing or something. I don't know. That whole TNT title mess. I hope they resolve this better than they've done that, because that's
as long as they don't get Dan Lambert involved, I think we'll be okay.
Speaking of, we need an interim kind of mascot for this season. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have been giving it some thought, because I was definitely leaning towards LA Knight. And then this Max Dupree modeling agency thing it's rubbed me the wrong way. I still love the guy, but he's not wrestling. And he's got guys that I didn't realize were still on the roster as his modeling agents in, what is his name? The guy from Retribution, Mace. But they put all these like different accent marks on his name, and also put a period between MA and CE. And Mansoor. Because I mean, I don't know. I don't know why half these people are still on the roster, and yet the people that can wrestle like hell keep getting cut. But yeah, I think this season's the season of Eddie Kingston, man. At every turn, he's slowly become like my favorite person in professional wrestling. I mean, we were talking about it the other day, and he doesn't necessarily look the part. He's not your meathead, but all they had to do was give him a chance and hand him a microphone, and he's the most over guy in that company, man. Not only that, but apparently he is the leader of that whole 8,000 person locker room. So, I think season 4 of the Dark Match is the season of Eddie Kingston. Yep.
Of the Mad King.
And it won't be hard for us to remember in each episode to show love for the Mad King. He does an awful lot that's worth mentioning every time we do this. Including my favorite part of Blood and Guts. He threw Sammy Guevara off the top of the fucking cage. I mean, he landed safely on what I assume was one of those airbags, but man, that guy gets on my damn nerves now. And I really just wish they'd get him off TV for a couple of months, let him kind of reset, and then come back not with Ty Conti stuck up his ass. Just you got to separate them because that it's ruining both of them. And I was a big fan of both of them.
I did hear I did hear a interview with Tony Khan where he was like people like Sammy Guevara, people like Ty Conti, and I was like, I thought they would like them together, and I guess I was wrong. Like he realizes he made a huge mistake.
In context,
but
you wasted 30 minutes of our time proposing to your longtime girlfriend in Houston to call off the engagement because you've been boning this other chick. Like you got your fiance over by proposing to her in your hometown, and then just completely just shit all over that whole thing. Like, no, we weren't going to support you after that. There are 317 hours of wrestling every week, and you wasted 30 of those precious minutes for that proposal. So please, just keep your private life separate. No more posing nude with title belts. Shawn Michaels pulled it off once. It never needs to happen again.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's something. It's just like kind of being in high school and seeing that like couple that gets together, and every time you see them, they just got their tongues down each other's throats, and it's just like, I don't want to see that, man. Like, I guess good for you, sure. Like, but like, there's a time
keep
for
doing your
that.
Vodcast. Run your Twitch page, be on there with each other all the time. That way, people that want to see it and support you, fine. But like, don't invite your ex-fiance into our lives and then let us watch the situation fall apart. I like watching train wrecks, but keep your personal life out of my wrestling.
Yeah. We'll just hit some highlights on Forbidden Door. FTR defeated United Empire and Roppongi Vice to become the not only the ROH World Tag Team Champions and the AAA Tag Team Champions, but also the IWGP Tag Team Champions. That was pretty crazy. Like, they had that kind of injury angle going on with
Dax, yes.
I always get them confused. Dax?
Mm-hmm.
Dax is the one that sent to the back. And he came back, which, you know, with all the injuries in AEW, made me a little extra nervous because it's just like, oh man, really? Like, especially with the run that they're having, like that's the last thing you want to see. But thankfully, it was just an angle. He came back out, defeated. I forget who ate the pin there. But,
I think it was
probably Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky seems like the one that would eat the pin. Yeah. We had that. We already talked about the 4-way for the All Atlantic Championship. That was pretty excellent. Dudes with attitudes. Darby Allin, Sting, and Shingo defeated Bullet Club, El Phantasmo, and the Young Bucks. The really cool like Dark Knight jump off the one of the tunnels. That was pretty badass. And again, 63-year-old man continues to do all these crazy
part
things.
Of this
it's
match.
Just nuts.
It wasn't my favorite on the show either. I was not at all familiar with Shingo, and that dude is amazing. And El Phantasmo is a badass. Like, he was just all over the place, and everything he did was so smooth and crisp. And it was like every part of that match was great. The Bucks were working the shit out of that angle that they've got. I mean, they were just healing it up hard, and I loved it. They added a lot of character while the rest of the guys were doing just some amazing wrestling. But yeah, 63 years old, and he's jumping off a 16-foot ledge above the entryway. And he just keeps doing it. I mean, he's turning into damn Jeff Hardy, Shane McMahon at this point. Like, just good God. But yeah, that match was awesome.
One thing I like about Forbidden Door, the lead picture that Sports Illustrated used in their kind of recap of Forbidden Door was specifically Sting tweaking El Phantasmo's nipples, and that's, of all the photos they could have used for the whole night, that's the lead photo that was on social media.
Nice.
That they accompanied their article, which was a choice photo to use. Let's talk about we had a debut. Claudio Castagnoli defeated Zack Sabre Jr. Via pinfall. I liked everything about Zack coming in here and daring. I believe it was Bryce Remsburg is the ref, daring him to count them out, daring them to call a DQ and stuff, really pushing it, knowing that would make Bryce a kind of a villain in a way, at least to the crowd, because people wanted to see that match. And his manipulation of the ref is something I really enjoyed. He took a lot of offense from Claudio, but I think I like the mind games that Zack Sabre Jr. plays. And then his promo afterwards where he claims he's never coming back to the US
nobody
again
told Claudio it was supposed to be
Claudio
a technical wrestling match.
Yeah. So yeah, if he wants to do it again, they'll have to take it to UK or Japan. Again, I thought it was good. It was cool to see the debut, and Claudio looked great. Especially after being away for, I don't know, February, I think was his last match on TV for WWE. But cool to see him back. I hope he also opens a coffee shop like he supposedly was looking to do.
Just a coffee truck, and he runs it in front of Dynamite shows. Like the Big Show was going to...
Right,
Big Show was going to open Big Show Burgers
or something like that.
He wanted to open a food truck where he made giant hamburgers, and he wanted to run it in front of shows, and WWE told him no because they had Big Show copyrighted. And that's why he left the company.
Wow.
He was like, I just want to run a food truck. And
wow.
I sit in catering all the show anyway. Can I not just sit outside in the food truck? I don't know. That seemed awfully shitty. But...
Wow. Quick couple of things. Jay White defeated Hangman, retained against Hangman, Okada, and Adam Cole. I really like this match. Unfortunately, it got cut short because Cole seemed to suffer a concussion. I think that was confirmed that it was concussion, but that's what it seemed like it. And one thing, though, Jay White seemed to be the one that actually called for that ending and just quickly ended it. And which is really cool, real good awareness on his behalf on kind of noticing, okay, this is a problem. We gotta finish this up. Jon Moxley defeated Tanahashi. It could have been interesting with Tanahashi maybe being interim champion, but at the same time, Mox, he didn't get to be champion at all. When fans. His whole reign was he won, and then it was immediately pandemic times. So it was cool that he's getting that chance now. But we'll circle back to my favorite match of the night. Will Ospreay defeated Orange Cassidy via pinfall. The only thing I've got against it is there were so many false finishes that got me, that I so thought could have been it, that I felt like I was jumping out of my seat, and every time was a false finish. So by the time the actual pin happened, I was just I was almost kind of boy that cried wolf type thing. It's oh, that's not going to be it, and it was. But yeah, it was. I got so excited. I thought Orange could do it several times, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. That match was
good,
great.
Amazing match from both of those guys.
Paul Heyman and Bully Ray and all those guys can talk about the hype that is Will Ospreay. He lives up to every damn bit of it, man. He is just that freaking good. That that first night he showed up on Dynamite, when he, like, out of because those other guys jump into the ring, so you don't even see Ospreay, and out of nowhere he just slides in the ring and he's already on his feet. Like, everything he does is so smooth, and he knows he's just fucking good. And I hope we get to see more of him. The Orange Cassidy thing was kind of a one-off. I'd really like to see the match that he was supposed to have with Andrade. I think that match could be just absolutely stellar. Here's hoping that they can figure it out. Do another Forbidden Door in Japan, like New Japan wants, to kind of tit for tat, home and home, as they call it in football. And hopefully they can find a way to satisfy CMLL or whatever, whichever party it was that wouldn't let that match happen, and we can actually get that one.
Yeah, the weird thing is that FTR is the AAA champions, right? So on one level, I was thinking, okay, maybe they would have the same problem, but they have CML, I guess, wherever the contract is worded, CML is the exclusive provider of Mexican wrestlers to New Japan. So I guess by the fact that FTR are Americans from North Carolina, then that, like, was okay that they were holding the AAA belts. Like, they came out with those belts too.
The interesting thing to me,
so it's not like they weren't wearing them.
Andrade is an AEW wrestler. He does independent dates for AAA.
Yeah,
but he is contracted to AEW. So technically, I mean, it's not like they were going to use AAA's contracted talent. So I don't know why they couldn't get over that hurdle.
Yeah, the Lucha Bros are actually contracted with AAA, so like that makes sense. It still sucks, but it makes sense there. But yeah, it seems like we were supposed to get some kind of Andrade and Rush versus the Lucha Bros, but it seems like, for when rumor is Rey Fenix had a health issue, which I think everyone thinks that's code for COVID. And that's not happening as of tonight. Actually, it's Penta versus Rush.
Oh, so that tag match right now, Death Before Dishonor.
So
that could be a big selling point if potentially they need to sell some tickets. I don't think they're going to have any trouble.
Yeah,
that arena is not very large, but
yeah. And then, so one thing we talked about Eddie Kingston before, but let's hit some blood and guts here. I love that they've been building this this issue with Claudio, which apparently goes back to Chikara, back I think right before Claudio left to go to WWE. So this is just, this is a grudge that he had from their, like, series of 3 matches. And he felt like they were a series of 3 matches for respect, and he didn't feel like Claudio respected him. And they've got a long-standing history, and I like that that's come through here. Also, some people are complaining, it's like, oh, it seems like Eddie has a history, has a problem with every single person that comes in the door. He has some kind of history, but I like it. It's fun. It's good. I like that Claudio got the submission win, and Eddie wasn't able to get that submission. So it just kind of builds some kind of, as an auxiliary kind of member to the Blackpool Combat Club. It's just like a nice dynamic, and I really enjoy that.
And I mean, Eddie's already had
I'm excited to see where that
issues
with
other members of Blackpool Combat Club. So I think it's going to create one of those scenarios where Mox has to decide. So that could be fun down the road. Once Mox drops that belt back to CM Punk, because we all kind of know that's coming.
Yeah, we will. I will say, to go out of your way, and I'll put it in the show notes. Matt Menard cut a hell of a promo following Blood and Guts. it's just about missing a personal thing, a personal family thing to be at that match. And I don't know, a lot of emotion there. If that was somehow kayfabe, his reasoning for things of being so emotional, he's an incredible actor, and you should just give him some awards right now. But I'll put that in the show notes.
He was in NXT before they fired
let's
all
talk
the
a little
coaches.
Yeah. But yeah, he's
I'll give a special
just
shout out to his tag team partner too,
which is cool.
Angelo Parker took an absolute ass whooping through that entire blood and guts match. Like, he started bleeding 2 minutes into his time in the cage and didn't stop. There was just blood everywhere, and it was all from one dude. Like, I don't think anybody else bled. I think it was just him.
Also,
yeah. Upside down. Yeah.
Was he the one hanging from the scaffolding upside down?
Just
like some
dripping
weird
blood.
ass horror movie?
Like you couldn't see his face.
I have to ask you because honestly,
he was busted open.
I didn't recognize him. Yeah.
Moxley forked him. He started bleeding and just bled like a stuck pig the whole rest of the match. I mean, Judah Wheeler had 100 thumbtacks in his back when that match ended. Not a drop of blood. But Angelo Parker is just spraying blood all over the place. Special shout out to that guy because he took an absolute ass whooping.
Yeah. Well, we got what we have coming up. I mean, we're kind of just in this, like we mentioned, kind of in the dog days of summer a little bit. We do have SummerSlam coming up, and I'm sure that'll build a little bit more. Hopefully, I guess they hope to build it to not have to move another stadium show to a smaller venue, like they did for Money in the Bank. Even though they're like, oh, it's a record Money in the Bank.
You weren't
it's
even
like
at the
most
biggest
successful
arena
one,
in
most
Vegas,
watched one.
but sure, whatever. At this point, ticket sales seem so shitty on SummerSlam that they could probably hold that show at Tootsie's and fit everybody in there that has a ticket. I guess Jerry Lawler owns a bar that probably has a ring somewhere in it. But yeah, the whole idea is that this last man standing match is going to end with a cash in, and I don't know if it's time to put the belt on Austin Theory. They're gonna have to do some real legwork between now and the end of July. I love Austin Theory. I saw him long enough ago that I know he's put in the time.
Yeah.
He's good at what he does, even if this gimmick is a recycled piece of shit that they've given 92 people before him. But he does well with it, and he's good in the ring. I don't think he's necessarily he's not ruthless aggression John Cena yet. He's got the potential. They've just got to work on him and get him there. Because the Austin Theory that was on Raw last night would lose when he tries to cash in. If they can get him over the hump these next 2-3 weeks, let him cash in and run with the damn thing till Survivor Series if Roman's not going to be around.
Yeah. I mean, I think if he does win, I think it's going to be one of those situations where it's a lackluster first reign and he kind of learns, and then that second one might actually be good. But maybe actually, I don't know. I think if he won that time between August and Survivor Series is the most harmless time to put a title on somebody.
I did run through a scenario that I thought, it would piss people off, but I would mark out pretty hard for it. If Roman wins this last man standing match and Theory comes out to cash in and Roman looks down at the belts and just throws the WWE belt at him to ununify them, and he's like, welcome to the island of relevancy, and just walks the hell off. I'm okay with him getting a belt in some way that makes Roman look like more of a badass. But I don't know. Plus, you can't cash in on Roman because the Usos are standing there. Like that wouldn't make any sense. Brock Lesnar can't beat Roman in the last man standing match because the Usos are standing there. Like, so there's something they've got to do. They got to do something because otherwise it's just going to be a failed cash in, and it's going to be disappointing as hell.
I could see a situation where Brock does take out both the Usos maybe and, puts them through a table or do some other thing. But like that opens up Roman to finish the job type thing or do something to a point where like the Usos are too taken out of it to like defend. I don't know. I think on one hand, like the fact that Austin Theory has people always get excited for Money in the Bank cash-ins. That'll help. I think just because this match has been done, the Roman Brock match has been done so many times, and the fact that it's really hard to get a good last man standing match that people like because otherwise it's anticlimactic. I think we are going to get a cash in. I do think we're going to have a win. I think in any other situation, people were not really going to be excited about Austin Theory winning. He got booed when he took down the thing, which is good because it does fit with his character. But yeah, I do agree he's not necessarily ready for it. But I think
they're going to have to. They shouldn't have spent. If this is where they were headed, to waste the last 6 weeks doing pose downs against Bobby Lashley, which there's not a fucking person on their roster that can beat Bobby Lashley in a pose down. I'm sorry. So that was just a dumbass concept anyways. But you needed to find ways to build him up as a potential threat. Like, he doesn't have to be completely ready to be champ yet, but you had to at least spend some time getting him championship ready. And what have you done for me lately is you dropped the U.S. title to Bobby Lashley. So they've done a piss poor job of building him as even remotely capable of getting over either one of those guys. They can do it. It's not hard. I mean, have him be the one that gives Veer Mahan his first loss now that Veer actually appeared, 782 days later. Just something. He's going to have to go over some of the behemoths, win a handicap match against the Mysterios. He's got to do something. And it's an easy fix. It's just whether or not they actually do it. Or if they just want him to be a shit heel champion, they can do that. But they needed to build towards that a little bit better, like they did with Rollins before Rollins cashed in.
Yeah. I am just like closing out. I am a little disappointed. I was hoping Sammy would win it and immediately change his mind about the not cashing in for the just sitting on the contract for a year and letting it like fade away. I would love to see him getting like talked into cashing in or something, even if he failed. Like, I think that could have been a fun like cash in and it fails.
I do still wholeheartedly believe there's a possibility John Cena shows up, talks Austin Theory into a match for the briefcase, and then John Cena closes SummerSlam with his 17th. I think it's possible. It makes the most sense to me to go ahead and get it done, get him over the Ric Flair hump. Because you never know when you're going to run into an issue like The Rock where you can't fit into his schedule anymore. So I don't know. I think that's the most likely scenario that I can come up with. But we'll see. The Miz will end up Money in the Bank, Mr. Money in the Bank before SummerSlam. Somehow.
Yeah. So Are you going? I think you mentioned you
I
booked
had
some kind of like Airbnb
booked,
to Nashville.
Then I saw ticket prices.
Did you actually do that?
And I decided that SummerSlam wasn't for me, which worked out really well because a different trip was already in the works, and now I get to go to Death Before Dishonor in Lowell, Massachusetts. The timing randomly lined up, and I'm really excited for that one. Always
nice.
excited to get to see FTR live. They've been responsible for 2 or 3 of my favorite live events that I've been to. So love those guys. Obviously, got that top rope Tuesday T-shirt. I actually paid the shipping charges on this one. I'm not going to SummerSlam. You gotta advertise John Cena well in advance to get my money for something like that. But I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm getting good vibes from them lately. So here's hoping that they make good on some of the things they've got in the works.
Money in the Bank was a lot of fun. And also from AEW, the Forbidden Door was a cursed show, and it turned out to be a lot of fun. Like, both WWE and AEW have been surpassing like expectations for their big shows, and I think that's cool. Not always hitting it on TV, definitely on the WWE side, not hitting it on TV, but also AEW too has been kind of a little all over the place lately. But yeah, they've always put on the big shows, and they've done that well. And I think that's pretty cool. Well, hopefully a lot more good wrestling to come, but we covered like a billion things on this episode. So we're going to end it here. And then hopefully we have some other developments for Death Before Dishonor and stuff like that to come at you here soon on the next episode. We didn't even touch on Ric Flair's last match, which we'll touch on next week. Hopefully he is alive at a month from now, and hopefully it didn't go terribly wrong, and a lot of scarred people in the building. So we'll see.
Subscribe, ring the bell.
But until then,
share.
What can people do?
We're not on Twitch. I was going to tell you to tip, but
it's been a while.
All the things on all the socials. Follow us on all the streaming platforms. We're available on whichever one you choose to use. I listen through. I think I'm on Spotify now. Yeah. I just switched. I got the whole home is Google Home now, and Spotify actually syncs with it, and Apple Music doesn't. So I had to make the change, which screwed up one of my bundles. But follow us on all the socials, all the streaming services. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate it, and we will see you next week. Long live